Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Gregg Sussman, joined today by Drew Digmeyer of DailyRoto.com, who's here to break down tonight's NBA slate. What's happening, Drew?
Just 3 games on the slate, but still plenty of plays for FanDuel players out there, so hopefully we can find the right ones tonight.
Giannis being out is certainly going to open up some value. We'll get to that in a moment, but we'll begin with the Atlanta Hawks taking on the Charlotte Hornets tonight. And Trae Young is in the lineup. He's certainly someone that's always worth playing. He's one of our top stars on the board tonight.
Yeah, it's obviously a good matchup in the sense that Charlotte's not an elite defensive team. They do play slower, but I think more than anything on a 3-game slate, you want to think through, what types of game environments are going to be the most compelling ones. And Atlanta and Charlotte are two teams that are not playing on the second night of a back-to-back, whereas the other games have teams playing on the second night of a back-to-back. So I think the upside is really strong for this to be the game that it stays competitive and gets the starters deep into the 30s in minutes. And Trae Young is certainly that guy for Atlanta. So I think both Trae Young and John Collins for Atlanta tonight are quite interesting at the top of the board in terms of pricing.
Absolutely, both make sense here tonight. But Trae Young for Atlanta is going to go off and always has the ability to put up 50 real points, which translates to so many fantasy points. Trae Young, a lock for lineups tonight. Up next, we'll get to John Collins, his teammate. Atlanta is a fast-paced team against Charlotte. As you said just a moment ago, not exactly lighting the world on fire with their defense. John Collins makes a lot of sense, even though the price is high.
Yeah, the price is high, but for John Collins, these matchups where they play smaller teams, where John Collins can get some more minutes as a true center, really impact his rebounding rate. And Charlotte is one of those smaller teams. They've been trying to get 4 to 6 minutes a game at center with PJ Washington or kind of these smaller ball lineups. I think John Collins will really flourish during those moments on the floor. And I think in general, there's a lot of value on the table tonight. So you can adequately spend up for both of the Hawks studs as building blocks in your lineup, and that's certainly the case with John Collins, priced in the upper 8,000s tonight.
Building our lineup with studs, including John Collins, makes a lot of sense on this smaller slate. And Collins paired with Young, well, it's going to add up for a lot of points for the Hawks and a lot of points for your fantasy teams. Finally, we'll move on to Milwaukee and the player that is probably going to benefit the most without Giannis in there, and that's his teammate, Chris Middleton.
Yeah, the two guys that have typically benefited the most without Giannis are Chris Middleton and then Eric Bledsoe. And so with Chris Middleton, he's priced a little bit higher. We project him a little bit higher, but both of those two guys have averaged around 45 FanDuel points per game in the games without Giannis this season. If they can hit that mark, they'll easily pay off their price tag, not only becoming one of the best overall scorers on the board, but also one of the best values. So I think Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe, two names to keep in mind tonight when building your lineups.
Both Bledsoe and Middleton should be on your radar. Their fantasy points just increase by a whole lot without Giannis. They need him to do the Bucks. Both Bledsoe and Middleton to step up. So make sure one or both are in your lineups tonight. Up next are 3 value plays, and we begin with Norman Powell for the Toronto Raptors. Powell's played very well as of late. Tough matchup tonight against a slow defensive Jazz team. Why do you like Powell?
Yeah, I really like the price tag on Powell. He's still priced in the mid 5,000s, and we saw him play over 40 minutes last night. Certainly a challenge on the second night of back-to-back, again, playing in altitude here in Utah. But I think it's a pretty good opportunity to beat that price tag with Fred VanVleet still sidelined. Powell's just been playing heavy minutes, seen a big usage uptick as well, and just honestly playing really, really well. So shooting guard position has a lot of options tonight, but Powell is one of the better values on the slate.
Even with that tough defensive matchup, Powell still underpriced. Let's take advantage with how well he has been playing as of late. Let's get him in there. Up next for us, Drew, we go back to Milwaukee and Brook Lopez, another starter that we haven't mentioned yet. The big man for the Bucks in a good spot tonight. Again, taking advantage of no Giannis.
Yeah, and a matchup with Nikola Jokic that will require a true center on the floor most of the night. I know Milwaukee at times will play some of these smaller ball lineups with Ersan or Marvin Williams at the center spot. I don't think they'll be able to do so tonight against Nikola Jokic and Mason Plumlee. And so the minutes should be there for guys like Brook Lopez, Robin Lopez. Brook Lopez, priced in the low 5,000s, gets that big usage uptick in the absence of Giannis. Also, such a good provider of blocks, which can really help the scoring on FanDuel pretty quickly. So we think he's one of the better values on the slate. And center is a pretty tough position with Jokic priced all the way up.
It's a great point. Needing a true center on the court all night long should prove very valuable for Brook Lopez and his owners tonight. He's reasonably priced. And if he's on there, he could hit quite a few threes for you. Maybe even give you a couple rebounds. I know, rare for Brook Lopez. We'll see what happens tonight against Nikola Jokic. One final player to talk about, and that's on the other side of that Atlanta-Charlotte matchup, and that's Miles Bridges. What are you seeing about Bridges tonight outside of that fast-paced matchup against Atlanta?
Yeah, the matchup certainly plays a big role in this, and in the fact that Miles Bridges is a guy that plays so well in transition, I think also helps. Atlanta does play very quickly. They allow a lot of steals and blocks, which also can funnel up that FanDuel score pretty quickly. And Bridges has been playing well. The minutes have been consistently into the 30s. The absence of Malik Monk has opened up more usage on the whole for a lot of the Charlotte players. It's also mixed up their rotations a little bit. He's getting a little bit more time at the 4 as well, which really helps his rebounding rate, with PJ Washington playing some 5 and those two being staggered a little bit more. So I think it's a combination of things that are really working in Bridges' favor tonight. But certainly the matchup with Atlanta drives a lot of the value as they play so fast.
Absolutely. They're just one of the quickest teams in the NBA, and Miles Bridges' value and Charlotte's scoring in general all going to go up tonight. So let's take advantage. Let's get Bridges in there as a value play on this slate. That's going to do it for us here on the FanDuel Hurry Up. Drew, we appreciate the time. Good luck tonight.
Thanks so much. Enjoy the 3-game slate tonight, Greg.
Absolutely. You as well. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at this week on the PGA Tour as Jim Sonis and Cam Stewart will be here on the Hurry Up to talk all about it. Have a great night. Enjoy the games. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for another edition of the FanDuel Hurry Up.